I've never not been interested in art really. I bought a Hockney print 1972 instead of paying the gas bill. So I suppose that was an early part of being an art lover, really, not having any gas in the winter, but having a beautiful, pretty tulips art piece by Hockney. Hello, hello. I'm Paul Smith. Here we are in my studio in London, and I'm very nice to see you all. Rose on the hour.
Okay.
It was an empty room in the year 2000. Art's very much a personal thing. You know, you can stand in front of a painting and not appreciate it, or just it just flows over you, and it's wonderful.
I'm Echo Eshen. I'm a writer and a curator. I'm a judge of the art prize. When we talk about the art world isn't a fixed proposition. The art world isn't a singular place. The art world really is just made up of individuals, artists, yes, galleries, museums, and so on. But really, the art world is made up of many, many people trying to explore and make sense of the world around them.
I'm Fabien Valérian. I'm French. I'm the International Arts and Culture Director for Maison Ruinart. And I was very happy to be invited to take part in the Winsor and Newton and Paul Smith Foundation Art Prize. I think the fact that this prize has an international scope with 6 different cities, enabling 6 different artists to be recognized for their work and exhibited, also creates a network, like a family that's created just by chance, but that can become more meaningful.
I think prizes are always important. Recognition is always important. Because artists don't make work in isolation. They make work in response to, they make work for, they make work with an audience in mind. And artwork isn't really finished unless you can see it. That's always the thrill of going into a museum. That's even the thrill of going into a Paul Smith shop and seeing some work on a wall.
My name is Brittany Bell Warshaw. I am an abstract painter in Tokyo, Japan. I work mainly in collaboration right now with my 3-year-old daughter, Ari. I was in a very deep, dark place. I don't know that you can call it postpartum depression because my daughter was about 2.5 when it started happening. And I was really looking for a way to crawl out of it. I was trying everything to kind of help let myself go and kind of surrender a little bit and get out of my own head, and also use something kind of like a meditative practice.
Finding inspiration everywhere, it was the brief to the artist. And basically, you can find inspiration in anything. And if you can't, please look again.
Hello, my name is Mathieu Livrieri. I'm from France, Grenoble, and I'm living in Brussels now. I love to focus on this moment of relationship between the people. And I want to elevate and to show the beauty of the banal moment. And this is the subject I do in my painting and my art. Okay. Okay.
You just say your name? Shannon. No.
Hi, my name is Shannon Bono, and I'm a visual artist and a teacher. My practice consists of the Black female narrative. I incorporate African spirituality in there and narratives from everyday life. And I mainly work in oil paints and spray paints and acrylic paints, a bit of everything really.
Artists are, I always find them fascinating figures. They're very reflective. They're trying to make sense of the world with this real fluency and desire and capacity for nuance and complexity. They're doing all of that. But they're doing that without words. They put all of that, often if they're a painter, let's say, into a still single image.
I get a lot of inspiration when I go on holiday to Africa. I like to treat it as a residency as well. and get as much information as I can. And seeing women in their cultural attire, spiritual women that are helping the communities, I think those women just, living life and tapping into their magic really inspires me to create paintings about just everyday women, really, in their natural environment, in their natural spaces.
I started painting again to just get out of my own head. My daughter comes home from school and she asks if she can paint. And I was like, oh yeah, here are your paints and your surface. And she was like, no, this one. And I was like, I surprised myself by saying yes. And she just went right in the middle with bright red paint and a paintbrush. And I kind of through half closed eyes was watching her.
Picasso, he always said he spent his life still trying to have the mind of a child.
And there she is, just using her whole body into the process and not just with reckless abandon. So it's just real push and pull between what she's kind of trying to say and what I'm trying to say without stifling either one of us.
Defining art is always a nightmare because it's whether it's art to you or not art at all. Is that art? Is that more art than art? I've always enjoyed putting literally a drawing from a 6-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old next to something that it might be considered, quite valuable in money terms. But to me, they're all equal.
It feels really lovely to kind of be connected with these people that I haven't met yet, especially since, this whole body of work started from feeling very lonely and very isolated.
I try with my work to create a contrast with lonely people, but with a lot of color, a lot of saturation. So my canvas are never silence, that move all time, and it's vibrant, that move, it's full of motif, full of objects.
There's a bit of melancholy in his work, but at the same time, through the use of colors, he really creates a very strong emotion, a visual emotion, and bringing life and a lot of joy also. So there's this tension between the melancholy of still life and the joy of the beautiful colors that he uses.
So for me, it's not silence, and people are not really alone.
So many artists are very shy and isolated. They like being on their own, and so therefore helping them gently but not forcefully to meet other artists, to talk to gallerists, talk to journalists is really important. It's all about the way people see things. It's a self-expression.
I'm born with one blind eye, so I have a different perception of the space, and I want between my work to say we have all different perception of object, of place, and that's the way I've decided to have my own interpretation and move the space, transform the space, and have a disruptive perspective.
Yeah, ready? I'm nervous. My name is Chen Weilab, so I'm from Hong Kong. I'm a visual artist. I focus on the swimming pool series. Many different social groups coexist in the public space, and this feels quite interesting and exciting to me. Public swimming pool are public gathering place where we feel completely normal to explore our skin, even in front of the strangers.
I'm Aina. I'm a arts editor and writer based in Hong Kong. There's this really common trope or memory that's quite nostalgic about, spending your summers by the pool. And I think that's a very simplified way of kind of explaining the universal resonance, and it's kind of almost naive and innocent, but I think it also holds very true. It's something that's intimate, but it's also this constant tension between the public and the private.
This relationship always interests me and becomes the main theme of my many artwork. Swimming is a sport of repeating muscle moments, and my mode of drawing is similar. It's keep repeating, feeling the colors in the grid when I'm drawing.
It gravitated me towards his work was that it was such a familiar concept, but done with so much consideration and meditation.
My name is Adam DeGore, and I'm a painter working in Los Angeles. Does that work? I currently use a mix of techniques, but primarily Indonesian batik and oil painting. My use of these distinct media started out as a gesture for me to understand myself better. These two different places and histories that have informed me as a person and as an artist. It's like these could only be made by someone like me, with the questions that I've had, with the places that I've lived. The material is so strange that right away people have questions about them. And then all of a sudden we're all talking about our dads. And then we're talking about grandfathers, and then we're talking about different wars that displaced us.
The reoccurring sort of symbols or motifs or totems that are found in my work are based on either the African countries that I visited or from my own background. So my mum is from Sierra Leone, my dad is from Congo.
So I grew up knowing that I was Dutch Indonesian, half Dutch Indonesian, intellectually, but nothing more than that. I went to Bali by accident, and I realized like the taxi driver looked so much like my dad, and this is really something I should try to find out about. I got really interested in the craft traditions out there. So you see batik all over the place in Bali and Java, carved wood everywhere. There's a lot of people working with their hands. It's a really like dexterous culture, which is very different than here in the United States. My use of batik and the narratives about cultural hybridity is the reason I use it is because it was a genuine desire to be closer to that ancestry and try to engage with it with my hands as an artist. That's just the most natural thing to do.
One of the reasons why I focus on the Black female experience within my paintings is because of representation and seeing us in the media or in the art world in general. With the actual artifacts that I'm painting, I think when you experience them, it's usually, especially in the Western world, it's usually they're like a museum or gallery space, and it's like behind glass, you can't touch it. There's more to them, they do have a purpose, and I do like to share that within the paintings. So I believe showing those sculptures in that light and using the African fabrics in the way I do is a way of me preserving my African culture, African heritage.
You come to a shift in perspective from artists looking at the black figure, depicting the black figure as it were from the outside, depicting the black figure as an other, looking at the black figure, to artists that are looking from or with the perspective of the black subject.
I do have a focus on African culture and this, blending of nationality, being British but then being African. So a lot of that does appear within the work. So when I do have these self-portraits in my paintings, even though I am a black woman, but there are certain things that you can tell you that I'm, I guess, a contemporary person living in London.
What is Dutch Indonesian, or what's Indonesian? What is Western? How do I combine them in something that is kind of seamless? It's a mixed media artwork that embodies mixed race identity.
Yeah, I believe just the artist community, like connecting with each other and like kind of collaborating together and joining our voices together for certain issues is very important.
I am Jeannie Greenberg-Roaten. I am the founder of Salon 94 and Salon 94 Design. We are a gallery on the Upper East Side in New York. I think that throughout time, actually, artist communities are essential.
I think art is more powerful, like, in the future. Art, when it's good, or when I think art is good, it's when it's more of a poem. And, you know, the more time you spend with it, the more it can reveal. And then also, good art is timeless.
Art has always been something that connects people, like across cultures and backgrounds. My name is Takuro Suzuki, and I'm an artist based in Brooklyn, and I'm from Tokyo, Japan. Yeah, I think like physical art, like painting and digital technologies, both have a big role in connecting, you know, creativity across borders. Physical art has that like tangible, like personal impact when you see it in person. Like you actually want to go see it to really feel the energy from art.
We are in a world where smartphones dominate every part of our lives. And then streaming offers me an opportunity to escape the phone, the TV, and the news.
How we are constantly balancing between the real world and and the digital world.
For me, it's very much about balance, you know, about still using a pencil, still using collage, still obviously paint, but mixed with technology.
Back in 2020 or 2021, you know, I was stuck at home like everyone else and spending hours on my phone and computer like every single day. And that's when I realized how much of my life was tied to the digital world. And kind of felt like I was living in two realities at once. Like I try to see my art as sort of like a bridge, I guess, between the digital and physical worlds.
Takuro Suzuki, he both looks backwards and forwards, and then has created his own style and his own language within that.
These contrasts in my work, like flower next to an emoji, are like you said, the metaphors for how our lives are split between what's physical and what's digital.
We see images every day in the street, on phone. We are saturated by them, and in my work, I try to through the image to create contrast between silence and vibration. Some space in the painting are empty. Some space in the painting are full of objects, full of brush stroke.
Many of the paintings that you see from the great masters around the world, I love the bit where it's plain and empty, or where they've just not overworked it.
The joy of this prize is that it recognizes that artworks can speak a language that crosses space, that crosses territory, that resonates internationally.
You can isolate yourself too much in your own space, and you need to actually be able to communicate your work through a gallery, through press, through meeting people.
It's kind of amazing, the conversations that I have in front of these paintings sometimes. Like, I learn so much about people. We don't even talk about the work most of the time.
I think everyone come from different places that have their own story and then their own personality, and then suddenly we group together and then to work with something very meaningful, I think.
Artists are very curious usually, and they really like to discover other people's work, other artists' work. And I think it's also a way to connect the different cities, the different countries, different sensibilities about art and creativity.
Despite the physical distance between me and other artists, I'm really intrigued by their difference in their practices. We all have different ways of working. It's abstract artists, there's sculptural artists, there's painters like me.
Now I feel like I'm really connected to like those, global actual community.
Think about a blank canvas. We know that as a metaphorical proposition. But think about it as a practical reality. Think about what a painter does. They approach something that begins in blankness, begins in unformedness, begins with nothing but possibility. And from that, they create something that, at its finest, at its strongest, at its deepest, might change the world, or at least might change how we see the world. I find it makes my own world richer, stranger, more fantastic, and more beautiful.